From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those championing market growth and anchoring the nation's economy, small businesses, and entrepreneurs.
Hey there. Welcome to another episode of the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook Podcast. I am Mike Maxson. That's Brandon Gray. And we're back with another guest today, Mr. Tyler Smith. And this is going to be a good one, everyone, because, real quick backstory on this. So, we all had Kyle Ewing of TerraSlate on here, and I even mentioned this on the podcast, but he has his right hand COO is Ryan Smith. So Ryan is Tyler's brother. And so Ryan reaches out to me. He's like, hey, man, you got to have my brother on here. He's got some cool stuff going on. So we checked out Tyler, and yeah, he does. And we got some good stuff with Tyler today. So Tyler, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Really glad to be here.
A little background on Tyler. He is an entrepreneur and he's owned several businesses. It's a hobby for him, though. I feel like when we were talking, he just feels like it and he just starts a new business, which is good because we got a lot to talk about with that. So I love that. He's also an EOS coach, which is important. And he just released a book called Exit Ready, using EOS to regarding exit strategy. So I cannot wait to learn more about that. But Tyler, if you don't mind, give us a little background on yourself and what you're into these days.
Yeah, for sure. So EOS junkie, lifelong. I was Gino's first client, believe it or not, back in the late 90s. As I was graduating from law school, I started up my first company and met Gino. We brought Gino in, and he was developing EOS and traction at the time. And so we became one of those very early guinea pigs. And I always joke, he helped us a lot. He crashed our business within about 3 months. So the old business model. So this is an accelerant, and he accelerated us. It just was the wrong type of acceleration, or I guess the right type of acceleration for that business. It gave us a clear slate to move forward. And we developed a company called Niche Retail, just starting in the 2000s. And we built sort of narrow e-commerce store. So it was sort of the anti-Amazon model. Actually, we had one of our uniques was if it was sold in Walmart, we won't sell it, right? But there was lots of product in the marketplace that had no access to the end users, and the internet played this very interesting space. So I had a great 10-year run building Niche Retail, growing it on EOS, becoming one of the stories that's featured in Traction. So my EOS history runs deep. From there, split with my partner, sold my company. I did 3 things. I became an EOS implementer, which I'm still doing today. I started a company called Batteries Included, which was very specifically in the financial technology space. So around 2010, financial technology became a thing. Wall Street sort of moved to Silicon Valley. What they didn't know how to get end user customers. What we knew how to do, or I knew how to do, was to bring customers to a website. Mm-hmm. So we had a great 10-year run of bringing customers to financial technology websites. Was great for the pocketbook, not so great for the soul.
Right.
Launching 25 financial technology companies. And I was the same time, joined the leadership team of EOS as its technology and marketing leader. And they kept buying up more and more time of our available time set, and decided sort of in 18-19 that they should probably just purchase Batteries Included, make it an in-house team. And so we closed on 1/1/2020, had my lovingly first worst job, the only time I've been employed, during my time at EOS as we transitioned that organization in. When I left, came back to full-time EOS implementation work and some interesting stuff around exit readiness and exit planning. So that is the quick and dirty background.
That is good. That's very good. So real quick for the listeners who might not know, I mean, we know, can you give a quick background on like what EOS is?
Yeah. So EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. It is an operating system for companies, specifically entrepreneurial, typically representing 10 to 250 employees in size. That is really the target market. So not enterprise, not very small startup unless they're well-funded and can afford a entrepreneurial coach. Mm-hmm. And what we do is 3 things for these organizations. We help them with their vision, we help them with their traction, and we help them become healthy. So vision is all about getting everyone in that organization 100% on the same page as where they are, where they're going, and how they're going to get there. Traction is bringing that vision down to the ground. So no matter where you look in that organization, you see progress being made towards that vision. And healthy, which is the sleeping giant, is all about being open and honest. So the secret ingredient for all leadership teams is your ability to be open and honest is what drives that organization forward, sets the stage for the entire organization. And my teams that have the highest level of open and honest trust are the most amazing teams. There's always another level, but every time we get together, we can always push it. So we're always redlining the organization. Can we push that open and honest one level further in order to get that organization to drive forward?
Sweet. And as a implementer, how many clients do you usually hold at like one time?
Yeah, so roughly 20. So with existing clients or new clients, I'm either going to meet with them 5 or 6 days a year. So somewhere around 100 to 120 days of 8-hour intense sessions with clients is about the max. It is a intense period. So you're on stage, you're working with them and trying to drive them forward. So more than 100 to 120, you just start to get a little burned out. You just need a lot of downtime to do this work.
Sweet. Yeah, I was always curious because everyone's client load differs. So I just interested to know, just especially in case any listeners too want to try to check you out and use you for your business. Make sure you can handle it, and it looks like you can. So that's good.
With them.
So this book, Exit Ready, right, and using EOS to exit. What prompted you to write that?
Yeah, so as I left employment and went back into the space, I connected with who are now my partners, and they have a thesis that the silver tsunami is coming. And the research now shows 30 trillion in business needs to transition within the next 10 years. So peak 65 with baby boomers, they need to exit their companies one way or another, whatever that means. And in our target market, same target market as EOS. So when I take it from an exit lens, you'll hear me use this a lot. We're not a Main Street business broker solution, right? That is, I have a dry cleaner on the corner and I want to sell it. And we're not megacorp investment banker level, New York style exit planning. This entire space in between those, which is 94% of US based businesses, there is no rock solid system in order to exit this organization, maintain, maximize the value, make sure it's ready for the next generation, whatever that means for that company. So we looked out in the space, and not only is there no good system, there are predatory players in the marketplace, right? Trying to take advantage, lock down these organizations and mislead them and steal value. Okay. So we went on and said, hey, let's go educate the populace. We went across the country, put on 6 free conferences, brought in lots of great talent and expertise. And what we found is we'd have 250 people say, hey, we're coming, we're interested, we need this. And then the day of, we get somewhere down to 10 to 20% of show ups.
Sure.
Our methodology was that you need an operating system and you need these 6 trusted advisors in your life. And we were going to be operating system agnostic. We just don't care. You know, I'm an EOS guy, but there are other operating systems to run successful entrepreneurial businesses out there. Just got to be running on one of them. And after this lack of show up, great content, great people, we said, all right, that didn't work, educating the populace. What if we went to the EOS conference with the same story? Remove that independence of what operating system is, say, hey, it's for EOS only. That's my expertise and background. And we see this issue. EOS is an execution engine, but there is nothing in the system that really drives it towards exit readiness. So putting on my Gino hat as best as possible, reading the books, getting the research done, and working with my partners, said, hey, I think we can build a exit lens that sits outside of EOS. So all the same EOS tools are being used to execute exit readiness. And we can put on a very similar methodology and approach to say, we need you to do these things. We need you to complete these components of exit readiness, and you can use EOS to do it. So that was how we got to the book, becoming an EOS licensee, and really just saying, hey, it's all about EOS. We're going to focus on that marketplace. That's our passion. That's our fit. And that's how we're moving forward.
Awesome. Great. Brandon, by the way, I can keep going with questions, man, but you got
it. I mean, so Mike wasn't on the podcast last week, and it was great, you know, but nonetheless, yeah. So Tyler, kind of looking at a little bit about the book and obviously being familiar with EOS, speak a little bit about the need to be proactive, thinking about an exit. Because I know many times with our clients, it's kind of a story of, I got a phone call or I got an email or this happened and now I think I'm going to sell. And it's kind of like carts before the horse a little bit. So speak a little to that.
Yeah. So first of all, like, what we pin that on is what we call unsolicited offers, which means someone is trying to buy your company for less than it's worth, right? So every unsolicited offer for all time is someone trying to take your company for less than it's worth. Just got to believe that and understand it at the gate. So what we know is every business is going to transition, exit, close, right? There is no business that lasts forever. It's on your terms. It's not on your terms. Something's going to happen. We're a bit obsessed with the something's going to happen. In the space, they call it the 5Ds: death, distress, divorce, disagreement. There's one of these things coming unexpectedly for you, and you are going to need to have this transition, get ready for this transition, or someone else is going to need to pull this transition off. So very big one. So our obsession is saying, hey, once you're up and running on EOS, that is a 2-year journey with an EOS implementer. Ideally, that is your execution system. We just want you to become obsessed with everything that gets you exit ready, right? So these are very high level, simple things that we're asking you to obsess about. Like, if you love this business, most entrepreneurs do, what is the legacy for this organization?
Right.
Just take the time. And so in the business, we talk about vision. Exit, we talk about the legacy. So for each one of these components on people, we said, hey, what's the succession plan for this? Like, people are like, wait, what do you mean succession plan? Well, no one's staying forever, including you. Have you thought about who's going to take the reins? Children, outside, PE, something of this organization, and to start getting you thinking about those pieces. So I ultimately like to say, we want those levers in place. God forbid something happens to you, your wife or children can say, I don't know anything about this business. This was my parents' thing, and I want to get out. How do I get out? Oh, there's a lever. I can just pull it, and there's people in the wings ready to go, and everything is set. I'm not going to take a discount. It is always designed to be exited at any time, just so that you're really determining what the future is. And we have literally seen 10x potential being left on the table by not doing 1 year of exit planning. And that is from all fronts: sales progress, tribal knowledge stuck in the organization, right policies, legal agreements. 10x could be left on the table. It's a scary number to not plan and drive for.
So as you're looking at kind of implementing some of these, I don't know if I call them strategies necessarily, their behaviors, their processes and what have you there, assuming that kind of folds into under EOS, the rock. So would you, for example, have a rock around tribal knowledge and what have you as you're kind of integrating it?
Yeah, and it's a perfect one. So EOS is so entrepreneurial and execution based. When we talk about process, we are obsessed with getting what we call the 20% of the process that gets you 80% of the results, right? So, hey, can we just process document 20% of this organization, which is great for execution? It usually handles it. In exit, we're like, no, it needs to be 100, 100. No one's buying this company not understanding how every single thing works. And what we find with entrepreneurial run organizations is the passion for process documentation 100, 100 is low. Most entrepreneurs are high fact finder and follow through. They like quick start, they like energy, they like implementing. And so this is where we come in and say, hey, looking at your organization, looking at what are known as value gaps, which really just means risks to this business. If you were to go out to the market, here's some of the risks we've identified, and here's their actual value if you fix them. If you fix your tribal knowledge risk, your process risk, and brought it to the marketplace, it is a 5% number at the end. And they go, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable, right? And so we start to just break it down really to say, hey, if you can fix the tribal knowledge process, when you go to sell, that's going to be this type of multiplier. So you're going to see these real dollars drop to the bottom line as you start to fix these items. And what we do is we're outside of EOS. So high believer in EOS implementers running your session, just a higher value. And we just sort of come back and say, listen, implementer, listen, company, here's the 3 that we think you should focus on, but you need to work in session magnitude of importance. What's most important to this organization? If the 3 that we give you become the 3 that you're going to focus on this quarter, great. If not, just tell us and we will reevaluate at next quarter. So we are there guiding you along, but the implementer is serving as the execution solution to make sure that most important things get done this quarter.
You mentioned the 6 trusted advisors. No, that's at the very beginning of the book. So just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. And so the biggest piece about this, lovingly, and in 99% of the cases, the solutions that you have in place are not the right solution for exit. So if you are using a local CPA, which do great jobs at getting your taxes done, they are not looking at tax efficiency for major dollars coming in and long future time planning. What we have majorly found is that most CPA firms that don't have a regional or national basis just don't focus on or have the expertise to run someone through exit tax planning. And we found that for CPAs, wealth advisors, financial planners, attorneys. And so when we say you need these 6 trusted advisors, very likely the majority of them you need to back support or find someone with the expertise as your primary. But when we're seeing the numbers that are coming out of the target market, we talk about your $1 million CFOs, not your $10 million CFOs, not your $100 million CFO. And it's the same sort of situation. Most entrepreneurs, 90% of their net worth is in the business. I was going to say stuck in the business. It's not stuck. But now we need to bring that out. You've never had this type of money before, likely. You've never seen it. You don't know how to deal with it. We just need to bring in the right experts. We have seen wealth advisors say, hey, just take the tax hit. Give me the dollars and I'll go manage them for you. And we're like, whoa. Like, that is probably not the right answer. Likely, there's a lot of tax planning that we can do to ensure that you are getting the most money and minimizing your tax exposure and ensuring you're getting ready for future generations. Most of these exits involve generational wealth hitting these families. Many of them do. So for 5 of them, it's, hey, do you really, really have the right advisor in your life to guide you through this? If they don't have lots and lots of exit planning history to them, they're just probably not right. We need someone who's truly an expert in this. The 6th one is, you're going to sell your baby and people are going to tell you it's ugly and you are not mentally prepared for this and you are going to be triggered by it. We need you to get in a space. Most likely it involves you working with a different type of coach, a life coach, a personal coach, finding something for you to really anchor in, because this is not your typical experience as an entrepreneur. You are about to go through something that you are going to dislike. Again, high fact finder, high follow through, lots of numbers, lots of tough questions, lots of people telling you that you're wrong and they're smarter about your business. And we really need you to be centered as you approach this so that you are not taking personal offense to someone who's trying to discount the value of your organization. So that piece is huge. And all of the post-exit people, they're like, I didn't do enough, right? Like, here I am sitting on the golf course. It's so good. Ding, ding, comes the big check. Now what? Oh, I still got to finish my golf game. Like, they thought at some point this was going to be a major release of something for them. And then when it happens and they realize it's not, it didn't solve whatever their whatever their thing was, they still need to go out into the world. They're not prepared to still have that fulfillment in their lives. It can be a pretty brutal experience. So that last advisor is, hey, how are you going to ensure you are at peace with what's about to happen? Because what got you here is not what's going to be the rest of your life.
Right.
And you're going to have to say goodbye.
Is that like a therapist?
Could be. Yeah. So this is, it could be a therapist. It could be your church. It could be your rabbi. It could be a life coach. It could be a personal coach. Gino talks a lot about this in Shine. And so they have a mastermind group that really helps you process this. It could be Tiger 21. It could be all sorts of things. It's just, you really got to lean in and be able to ask yourself the questions. What am I going to do when I don't have this huge part of my personality defined by this entrepreneurial? Maybe you'll decide to re-entrepreneur and do the next thing, or you'll decide to go work in nonprofits. Whatever it is, be ready, because it's a transition that almost no one is ready for.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I said that. I was hoping you'd say actually other things other than a therapist and other options. But yeah, way to go. Yeah, appreciate it. Hey, real quick, I know as we come up on time here, I always want to touch base because a lot of the guests we bring on and your involvement in the business space, would love to get your thoughts right now on the current state of business from what you see successes and challenges. I think you have a lot of value because of just obviously your own entrepreneurial mind, but give the listeners something right now, like in this economy. And I know it varies across industries, so I know you're going to be speaking in generalizations, but right now, give me some things, some challenges businesses are facing, what you see them, and even your work with them through EOS. How are they working to overcome that?
Yeah. So I'm going to just go through 3 challenges. One we've sort of touched on. We have a silver tsunami exit going on, right? So very huge number of baby boomers figuring out, what do I do with this business? The next generation of entrepreneurs coming in are different generation, different viewpoint on life. I have seen a high demand for, can I get an SBA loan, buy one of these big businesses that needs to exit, and then I'm going to go lever it up, right? Not start from scratch, try and find a problem, but can I get a 2-van HVAC company and go build it to something great?
Right.
A lot of demand for consumable SBA businesses. I don't know how else to put it. There is a fear in the system around 2030. So there's lots of good work out there. So 1929 was just released, which was a book about the major stock market crash. The storm before the calm, the next 100 years, there's just lots of good content out there that says, hey, something's coming around 2030. And we see it in the PE space. So we see lots of organizations wanting to exit and cash in before whatever this date time means. And so it's in a lot of people's minds, and they don't know what it means, but they just know that they're running towards this timeline that they want to know more, and no one really knows, but something is sort of just brewing. So I think those are really the big ones that I see in the space right now. The other, like, I know everyone has said AI forever, right?
Right.
The issue that I see in AI is, if I have a senior executive, part of that senior executive's existence was in training the next generation executive. So meaning they would give the juniors the boring work, the deep dive work, the time consuming work. Well, now AI has removed the need to give that work to juniors. So there's a training issue that's coming that's saying, hey,
Right.
the seniors are
That's
good.
good.
I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to give it to the junior. I can just pump it into an AI. Look how much money I'm making for the firm. Well, when the seniors now want to exit, the juniors haven't been trained on, 100,000 hours of whatever it was. And so I don't know what impact this is going to have on the space, but in law, this is the long time model. You're a senior, you bring in the juniors, you work them like crazy, you train them up. At some point, they become ready to take over. Well, I don't need the juniors anymore to give me a synopsis of a case. I can just drop it in. It's going to feed back probably better. I don't know who knows what the answer to that is, but there's a change coming that we are just not fully able to understand what it means for the future. So it'll be interesting.
That's good. Me and Brandon always joke, when he's been here a little bit longer than me, but we've had that baptism by fire. So, just dealing with the stuff and doing the stuff that you're just like, oh God, there isn't nothing here we haven't dealt with or done that, that we can't handle or overcome. And that's a huge learning point. I mean, it's not always the cleanest, but you definitely learn, That's good. I'm going to use that, Tyler. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Brandon, before we begin to wrap it up, what you got anything else?
Yeah, I would say if there is one piece of advice or guidance you would give to someone who, they kind of listen to this and go, you know what? I think I am going to need to think more about an exit strategy, either by my choosing or the good Lord's choosing, in the next 3 to 5 years. Kind of where would you point them? Kind of what are things they need to be thinking about as they move toward that?
Yeah. So it's one of those things like that 2030, like in the stock market, you don't get to pick the timing always. So if you can get your mindset to say, this organization that I'm running, and I'm the total, it doesn't work without me, right? I own the trusted relationships. I own 100%. There is no backup plan whatsoever in place. Like it is a high level. Let's take a step back and look at the truth of this organization. If I disappeared tomorrow, which you can, go on a 90-day vacation, okay? what is going to happen to this organization? You need to be planning for it. You have to. It is not fair to lay it on to your spouse or your children or your executive team that has no ownership, no say, no play. And all of a sudden, hey, now you work here, but you work for someone who's never worked here before, who never understands anything like this. And they're not going to be able to give you any advice. And you were the cornerstone of this thing. You were we call it a genius with 1,000 helpers model, right? Like if you have truly put yourself in the center of this organization and you've been able to drive it through your will and expertise and time and attention, if you remove yourself, the whole thing collapses. So getting our baby boomers and our companies who have well-run companies to start to just process this, to say, you don't get to pick the timing as to when you are removed. If you're lucky, you get to pick the timing and do all of the planning. But I would say I'm a bit obsessed with succession now. Just every single role, you need to know who's coming in next. Just right there, just very clear, who is the person in the wings that is going to step in. My best companies are 2 layers down. We have the next 2 successors in the organization, planning, thinking, understanding how it's going to work. Yeah.
Nice.
That would be number 1.
Awesome. Before we close out, Tyler, I know you got a lot going on. You speak, you got your EOS. If anyone wants to work with you, get a hold of you, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so please come on to my personal website. It's tyler-smith.com. So that is how to get a hold of me in all of my current pursuits. So if they want to reach out, happy to connect with them there. Happy to connect on LinkedIn. So yeah, love to connect with all people who are fascinated with exit readiness and EOS. Willing to help in any possible way I can. So please reach out, please connect. Love to speak with you and see how I can help.
And
Awesome.
reminder,
Man, we really appreciate you being on here.
a reminder about the book, Exit Ready, Rocks, Rolls, and Results That Power Your Exit Plan. So, you can, I'm sure there's been, I promise you this, there's been a couple things that Tyler has said today where you're like, I probably need to work on that a little bit. Well, this is, a great way to just kind of go, all right, let me read this book. Let me listen to it. Well, let's get the ball rolling on this.
Oh, yeah. When did you last update your operating agreement?
Oh, yeah.
What operating agreement? What are you talking about?
What is that? Yeah, that's great. Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing what you keep working on, man. It's exciting. We're gonna keep in touch, and hopefully we'll have you on again. And thank you again. And so for Tyler, Brandon, I'm Mike, and we'll catch y'all next week.
If you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review. This podcast is brought to you by CRI Simple Numbers LLC, a division of CRI Capital Group LLC, and a subsidiary of CRI Advisors LLC. CRI is the trusted brand under which Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC, the CPA firm, and CRI Advisors LLC, along with its subsidiaries, deliver professional services. Please note, Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC is a licensed independent CPA firm offering attest services, whereas CRI Advisors LLC and its subsidiaries specialize in providing tax and business consulting services. These entities operate within an alternative practice structure as defined by the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct and comply fully with applicable laws, regulations, and professional standards. Ready to simplify your business finances and drive growth? Explore valuable resources, books, and tools designed for entrepreneurs and small businesses at simplenumberscri.com.